In this notebook, we're going to be looking at using SQL and Pandas to explore the Mimic2 database. So the Mimic2 database is a collection of all the EHR data for, in this case, we're using the demo version, so there's 4,000 deceased individuals, and so there's all variety of data. So it's really a great place to get familiar with what biomedical data looks like. There's some resources here, including a cookbook that's assuming a Postgres database where our data is in a MySQL database, so there's a little bit of adjustments you have to make. And then they provide the data dictionary. The main point here is that there are a lot of different kinds of data. And so we're going to have free text notes, nursing, radiology, discharge summaries. We're going to have IV drips, measured urine output, medications, procedures, diagnostic codes, etc. So to start off with, we need to open some modules, and we're going to use the PyMySQL module to connect to this MySQL database. And the server name is MySQL. The ports provided here and the username and password are the same. So when it prompts me for this, I just provide the password. And let's start off with some basic queries. So here I'm going to look at, I'm going to query the ICD-9 table and select the subject ID, code, and description. And let's just see what that looks like. Oops. Then we can do a value count on each one of these of how often they're occurring. And we can make a histogram. In this case, well, I'm going to do a bar plot of the top 20 diagnoses and what their count is in the database. And here's some example queries for you to consider working with. So I'm going to just work through one rather complex query, and that is if we wanted to identify all the radiology reports for a patient with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Now I got these list of ICD-9 codes that would be some form of COPD from the CDC. And so a 490 or 491 is going to be chronic bronchitis. An ICD-9 code of 492 is going to be emphysema. 494 is bronchiectasis. I don't know if I can say all these correctly. And a chronic airway obstruction is going to be an ICD-9 code of 496. Now these will all have subcodes on them. And so we're going to make use of a wildcard and a SQL-like statement. So I am going to do a join between the note events and the ICD-9 tables. And I'm going to select the subject ID, the category of the note, the text of the note, and the ICD-9 code that goes with that. And I'm going to do a where any of these conditions with an, combined with an or, where an ICD-9 code is like 490, and then this percent symbol is going to be a wildcard. So that would be 490.1, 490.2, etc. And that's followed all the way down here for each of these 5 main ICD-9 codes. And so that's my where on the ICD-9 codes, and then I have another condition which I create with an and, that the note events category is equal to radiology reports. So let's do this and let's look at the first 20 reports, and we see that these all have an ICD-9 code of 496. So that's kind of boring. Let's see if we can get some more. We got some 492s in there. Okay, so we got a little more data. But that was a way that we could get a cohort of data of subjects with a particular set of ICD-9 codes. and a particular type of data that we're interested in.